Welcome to Dinger Diary. My name is JP, your host for this seriously spectacular episode number 5. Today I'm going to tell you the one reason kids quit baseball. Yes, there is only one reason. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. I have 3 sons, 2 adults, 1 10-year-old. Both of my older kids quit playing baseball at some point. My middle son by the time he was 10, and my older son by the time he was 18. My middle son quit at 10 years old when he was hitting the forearm while at bat against the fastest pitcher in our league. This was the playoffs, and he refused to come back for the championship game. Pain caused him to never want to step on the baseball field again. My older son quit a few times. The love for the game would fade, it would come back, and then would fade again. I'm not sure he ever really loved the game to begin with, but he was good at it. He ended up quitting for good for a combination of reasons. But in my opinion, what really happened is that he found girls and realized they were a lot more fun than baseball. A study by the National Alliance of Youth Sports showed that 70% of all sports athletes will quit playing their sport by the age of 13 years old. Other studies show that 50% will quit by the age of 11. Think about that for a second. Tonight at practice, of the 10 or 12 players that you have there, 7 or 8 won't be playing baseball with you any longer within a few years. It seems there are many reasons kids quit baseball. They're just burnt out. There's excessive failure in the game. There's too much pressure from the team or a coach. Parental pressure causes kids to quit. They feel overworked. There's a lack of progression on their part. There's financial limitations. They find something else they'd like to do better, like maybe gaming or even YouTube. And yes, of course, girls will cause you to think differently about most of the priorities you thought were once important. There have been extensive studies on why kids quit sports. Hundreds and hundreds of pages written, hours and hours of videos, and you can go find all of that online if you want to. But when it comes down to it, virtually every reason kids quit baseball can be tied back to only one reason. They just aren't having fun anymore. They're burnt out from the pressures brought on by competition, long practices, or demanding coaches, and the game begins to feel like a job and the fun has slipped away. We all know baseball is a game of failure. And how do you tell a kid to go have fun failing? When they have a parent pushing the game on them and a kid realizes that he can no longer please his parents, his baseball journey is over because there's just no fun disappointing mom and dad. If they feel they're overworking themselves, the desire to get better has been lost to something more enjoyable. Injuries suck, and they're certainly not fun. If you see your teammates getting better and passing you by, not being one of the superstars any longer is depressing. There's no fun in depression. If a kid finds something else more enjoyable than baseball, like shooting bad guys in a video game or reaching 10,000 followers on his YouTube channel, the thrill to be the next Fortnite world champion can be intoxicating. Way more fun for some. Think I'm kidding? Ask your kid what he wants to be when he grows up. 50% of the kids today say a gamer or a YouTuber. $400 bats, $400 custom gloves, $100 Bruce Bolt batting gloves, $150 a night hotel stays, and $4 a gallon for gas are no longer considered optional for high caliber players. The time and money required is substantial. Single parent families and kids from lower socioeconomic backgrounds are shut out from the expense alone. Being broke is no fun. Been there, done that. Oh, and it's way more fun for most teenage boys to head over to the girlfriend's house to play a little footsie than to go to practice. Just ask my son. Let's admit, baseball for most kids is not the most exciting sport. Standing in the outfield for 6 or 7 innings without a single ball being hit your way is not fun. To top it off, If you're standing in the outfield at 8, 9, or 10 years old, chances are you're at the bottom of the order and you're not getting a lot of hits anyway. So for many, playing with the bugs in the outfield grass is just more fun. It is estimated that of all the kids in your child's school that are eligible to play baseball or softball, less than 5 out of 100 will ever play past middle school. So why is there so much attrition in our sport? In my opinion, for most kids, baseball is not fun anymore because it is designed not to be fun. Baseball is now about high competition, paid coaching, and winning at a higher level. The average players who play for fun are being pushed out slowly but surely. Youth baseball has purposely started to weed out most athletes. For example, my youngest son comes from a park who for decades only offered rec baseball. There were no travel teams in sight anywhere. Each rec team division had at least 10 teams with hundreds of kids playing in the program. After some time, the park began to change its philosophy and the travel teams started to take over the park. Now, I'm sure this had a lot to do with money, but what it did was it pushed out most of the other kids who were just there to have fun. It gets worse. As players get closer to middle and high school baseball, it focuses on the more competitive players and the demands increase. The commitment to the game increases. There's more practices, more games, more training, and often more money to pay out. Your teammates, your coaches, and all of the parents around you care more about the outcome than you might. Yes, all of this can teach us incredibly important lessons about hard work, teamwork, responsibility, etc., but it's really not for everyone. But to be fair, by the time a kid gets to middle school, a lot changes with their school workload, their hormones, of course, and their dislikes and likes. College begins to get talked about with friends and around your house with greater significance because life's big picture begins to form and baseball is no longer part of your masterpiece. A report by the CDC describes this as a focus on themselves, going back and forth between high expectations and lack of confidence. Kids become more focused on and influenced by their friends, many of whom are also walking away from baseball. When it was all over for our family, I cried like a baby. And we had another child just so I could do it all over again. And I wouldn't change a thing. When the baseball fun fades for your kid, so will your trips to the ballpark. You will long for the days to be up at 5:30 a.m., to be at the park at 7 a.m. for an 8 a.m. game. You'll crave the 4-hour drives and the dirty back seats covered in orange dirt. What you once complained about so vigorously will now only be a wish. The only solution is to have another child and hope to do it all over again. Enjoy it now. It is one of the best times in your life, but if the studies are correct, chances are it may not be for long. Be sure to click the subscribe button on YouTube and the follow button on Instagram. I hope you'll tune in next time. That's all for now. I'll see you next time on Danger Diary.